and this is the handover of the Auto Sleeper Nuevo 60th Anniversary Edition. So as we start, we'll walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first. The first point you get to is your fresh water drain off. So you'd unclip the pipe here, you drive over your motorhome service pitch on the way out of your site, or if you just want to drain off your fresh water on your driveway or in your storage yard, you can just open it and drain it off like so. You'll always want to make sure that this is fully drained off in the winter, especially, so that the water doesn't freeze. But if you've taken on contaminated water, or you're simply not using the vehicle and you don't want the fresh water to go stale for a while, you'd simply open the tap and drain it off. You've got your LPG, so the Nuevo is fitted with a 25 litre underslung gas tank. So you would fill by going to your local filling station that sells LPG. It's a bayonet fitting, so you'd connect the filler, twist the nozzle on the front of the filler, and then pull the handle on the filling hose and press a button on the display on the pump until simply it won't take any more. So from empty, something like this will take about £16. Underneath, you've got the emergency shut-off valve, which is directly underneath the vehicle. You would remove this cover, and in there you'll see that there is a isolating valve, which is similar to what's on a standard gas bottle, so you can turn it off if you're going onto a ferry, or if you just wanted to isolate it when you were storing the vehicle. Underneath this flap here, you've got an external TV point, so you've got 12 volt, a satellite point and an aerial point there. So if you did want to watch the telly in the awning, you would connect everything here, throw it underneath the vehicle and get it out on the other side of the vehicle. This is how to fill with water. So there's one of two ways to fill with water on the Auto Sleeper. So you can fill via a pump, which is the wheel pump, and it comes in the bag like so. So you'd put this fitting here into the vehicle. These pins are just to get a 12 volt supply, and you'll need to turn tank fill on, and then you can connect to a hose pipe. But you need to turn tank fill on the main control panel, which I'll show you when we're inside, or you can fill via just putting a hose pipe in the side of the vehicle from the other side, which I'll show you in a second. Trimmer vent here, so this is where your boiler is, so just make sure this is obstruction free, and this allow the ventilation of the boiler out the side of the vehicle. Mains connectivity points, so to connect with 240 volt via a hooker blade, you get your hooker blade, lift and expose the end, lift the collar, and then what you'd need to do is just slide that over into there like so. Always hook the vehicle up first, then the power source, and then when unhooking you do it in reverse order and just click down on this blue toggle there to unhook. So further back, you've got your cassette toilet. So to operate your cassette loo, you want to make sure that the blade's closed on the inside of the toilet, and then should it be closed, you'll be able to get the cassette out. Should it be open, the cassette won't come out. So you'd simply lift the blue toggle, slide out. You've got a handle on there so you can wheel it to your waste disposal point, which is normally near your toilet block, and then empty. Remove the cap on the end, which acts as a measuring stick of 120ml when you come to put the chemical in the liquid form after you've emptied it. So to empty, press the button, tip out. Once you've emptied it, put some water in, give it a rinse out, tip out again. Then like I've said, 120ml of the chemical in the liquid form into here, and it's good to go back into the vehicle. If you were using the tablet form, you'd put it in completely dry, and then what you'd do is you'd go in, open the blade on the bottom bowl of the toilet, flush a pint of water into the cassette, and then drop a tablet of chemical into the cassette, and that'll break down with the water of a pint of water. It'll all break down into the chemical, but the tablets are easier to store than the liquids, but it's up to you what you use. And then at the back you've got your wastewater outlet. So again, driving over that motorhome service pitch on the way out of the site, take the toggle off there, the bottom cap, and this is just the water that we've tested the vehicle with. So in the winter, again, it's very important that you drain the waste off as well as the fresh. Leave no water within the vehicle. So this would be a hand basin water, your showering water, and your dishes water, or anything that you've drained off down via a plug hole. At the back of the vehicle you've got your high level brake light, your reverse camera. This customer has fitted a bike rack, so the 60th anniversary Nuevo doesn't come with a bike rack, but you can have one fitted from your dealer. You've got this strap on here, so you take that off. Take that off there. That would slide down, so you can fit 2 bikes on here. You'd put this toggle through the spokes of your bikes and pull the wheels down onto the rails, and then these through the crossbars, and then you just attach them through there to get a grip of your crossbar. And then folding it back up, and then you can put the spare strap around it. But then what I would also advise is that you put some sort of bike lock around the vehicle when the bikes are on. So put them round the bikes just to attach them securely to the vehicle if you are leaving it unattended, if you are stopping at a service station, or if you are just parking the vehicle up. And then at the bottom, using the winding handle, which is very similar to what caravans have on, they have corner steadies, so you just attach there, and then you can wind the corner steadies down, and you've got 2 of these on either side of the back of the vehicle. These are just a little bit better for stability, but on something like this you don't really need to use these all the time, as it's more for a bigger vehicle, i.e. caravan, more than a motorhome. But you can use them, and it'll just give it a bit more stability in the wind. Coming round to the passenger side of the vehicle, so you've got your 2 fridge vents. This is your vent behind your microwave. You've got your awning light above your habitation door, and you've got your fuel Omnister awning mounted to the top of the vehicle on the coving there. And then to fill with water, normally what you can do, if you didn't want to use the wheel pump fitting, you can just use a hose pipe. So go and carry a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, because it's mainly just a brass tap, and you'd simply put your hose into there, and this would be how to fill your freshwater tank. So you've got 2 ways of filling, this way and the other way, which is via the pump. External gas point, so if you wanted to power a Cadillac, an external awning heater, a barbecue, you've got a spigot on there. Cut that off, that clips it in there. You'll need some gas hosing and some Jubilee clips to clip everything together, and then this will use the gas tank on board instead of carrying a spare bottle to power your barbecue or your awning heater via that point. And then you do have an external 240 volt socket, so when hooked up this will work. So if you want power in your awning or power on the outside of the vehicle, you can plug your plugs into here and this will work. Got storage underneath the bench seat at the front, and you've got some storage under here on the wet locker. So if you've got bits and pieces to carry, such as your winding handle, your hooker blade, your hose pipe, what you can do is you can open that up via the square key, which is the tri-mark key. And you've got a section there where you can store your bits and pieces, like your leveling ramps and all your wet bits and pieces that you don't want the vehicle to get wet with, such as your hooker blade and various other items. At the passenger door you do have your diesel filler, which opens with the main Peugeot key, and below you do have the AdBlue tank. So the AdBlue tank is 19 litres. It'll indicate between the fuel and the temperature gauge on the instrument cluster. And as soon as it comes on, if you just top it up, you can either buy it on the pumps or you can buy it in the drums and top the AdBlue up. Failing to top it up will make the vehicle go into limp mode if it goes too low, and if it goes completely low, it'll just not fail to start, as it's a safety feature. And then here you do have your tyre pressure, so you've got 5 bar on the front, which is 72.3 psi, and 5.5 on the back, which is 79.5. You'll also notice that you do have your weight plate here, so you've got 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight. If you were to put a tow bar on and tow anything, you can tow up to a train weight, which is a motorhome, and whatever you're towing can't exceed 5.1 ton. The engine battery is underneath the floor. You've got a toolkit underneath the passenger seat, which has got a jack and a brace and a towing iron. You'll notice you've got a fire extinguisher on the side of the driver's seat, and then to turn the seats round, you just pull up this red lever, or push down, sorry, and you can turn the seat round into the living space. If it was to get stuck, you would just use the bar on the front of the seat to adjust the driving position, and that is exactly the same for the driver's seat as well. And then finally, your bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard on the passenger side. And if we have a quick look underneath, so you've got all your fluids to the left hand side, which is underneath the driver's wheel. So you've got screen wash, this cover lifts off, and you've got power steering fluid and radiator coolant, brake fluid, engine oil filler, and your dipstick, which is here for checking your levels. You've got your paint code, which is 210 for the blank or white, and earth if you needed to give or receive a jump start. And then behind the passenger headlight, if you put your key in here, lift this cover up, that is your positive for giving or receiving a jump start. So once you've stepped inside the Nuevo, you'll be wanting to put the control panel on. So to do so, you just touch it. It is touchscreen, and you can turn on and off from the top left hand corner. This will indicate if you're hooked up or not. If you're not, then you will just be receiving 12 volt off your leisure battery, depending on how well it's charged. And then coming down this side first, you've got your pump, which pressurizes the water should you have enough water on board. So if you're going to use anything that involves water, such as taps, toilet, shower, you've got to have the pump on to pressurize the water. Below, you can see the level, so you can see that we've got 50% of fresh water on board and 0 waste. Clicking the house in the middle, it'll go back to the home screen. And then at the bottom one, you can see your battery levels. So you can see that you've got 14.2 volts in your leisure battery, 12.8 in your vehicle. There's currently 1.1 amp coming off the active battery, which always wants to be the leisure battery. The mains current coming in, which is 9.5 amp, and then the solar, which is showing nothing because the hookup takes priority first, as it's got the bigger voltage. Click in the home again, it'll go back to the home screen, and we'll do everything on the right hand side of the panel. So you've got your master switch for your lights here, which is the top one. Then they all are individually switched around the vehicle. You've got your owner light, which is the light I showed you above the habitation door on the outside. This is a changeover battery switch. So at the minute it's showing L. If you click, it shows V. It means that the vehicle is now powering the motorhome side, the habitation side. I would never really advise that, so always leave it on L, because you want the leisure battery to work the motorhome and you want the vehicle battery just to start the engine. Otherwise there is a chance that you can flatten the vehicle battery, and then that's the last thing you want when you're away in the motorhome. Click in the bottom, which is the spanner, which is, or should I say the cog, which is the settings. You get all your heating controls, which is all controlled by here, so just control it through there, it's much easier. But you can use the handbooks to look at what these do. But if we go to the next page, this is where the real settings come into. So you've got the active battery, which is your leisure battery. You always want it to be on the leisure battery. Like I've said, you never want the vehicle to be running the motorhome for obvious reasons. And then you've got your solar battery select. So it's on vehicle. So if it was standing, you'd want it on vehicle. If you were using it, you can have it on leisure, but you can put it on smart, which is this one here. And what that does is it analyzes both batteries, and whatever battery gets too low, it automatically switches the solar regulator to charge that battery. If you are filling from the driver's side of the vehicle via the wheel connector, you need to turn on the automatic tank fill. So this will start, it'll send power to that point, and it'll start and suck the water into the freshwater tank. And to do so, you just press, so it goes to blue. And then below you've got your tank heaters, so you've got your waste and you've got your fresh. So if it was going to potentially get to minus temperatures overnight, put them on before you go to bed, and then you won't wake up with frozen water. You've got your light settings there, and then you've got your screen settings for this screen, and your date and time when the clocks go back and forth, and then you go back to the main home screen. So next to the main control panel is your Truma heating and hot water panel. So this is the digital CP control panel. There's various videos on YouTube of these, but I'll give you a quick rundown. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold here. This is standby. To get into the main menu, you just press enter. In the top left hand corner, you've got a motorhome flashing with a thermometer. This is how hot you want the interior of the vehicle to be. So you can have it all the way to off in the summer if you don't want the heating, or you can have it all the way to 30 degrees in the winter. Once you're happy, you would just press enter. So now I'm going to preset the thermostat to 23 degrees by pressing enter. Moving on, you've got the thermometer with the water in, so this is how hot you want your water. So check that you've got enough water on board first, and then you've got off if you don't want to heat water. You've got eco, which is equivalent to 40 degrees of heating your water. You've got hot, which heats it at 60 degrees, and you've got boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritize the water first. So for this we'll just say hot, so 60 degrees of heating the hot water there, which is 10 litres. And then moving slightly on, you've got a gas bottle and some electricity signs. This is what you're using, what source you're using to heat the water or the vehicle. So you've got gas on its own, which you'd use if you're wild camping. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. You've got a mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. So this is mixture 2. You'd use this in the winter if you're in desperate need of hot water or heating. And then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts. And you've got electric on 2 kilowatts, which is 1500 watts. So depending on what site you're on, small SEL sites, you may have to use electric on 1. Normal sites, big sites such as camping, caravan and club sites, you can use 2 kilowatts to heat the water or the vehicle. Obviously if you are on a site, you wouldn't want to waste your gas, so we'd use electric. If you were on wild camping, you'd have no other option but to use gas, and then if it was really cold, you can use the mixture settings. In the top right hand corner, you've got the fan speed, so you can have it on eco or high. This is just a 12 volt assisted fan. So eco if you're going to leave it on low when you're going to bed, as the fans are a little bit more quieter. And if you really wanted to get the vehicle warm quick, you can use high, and this will boost the fans, so it does give it a good circulation of air around the motorhome. So for this we'll just say eco. Bottom left, you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off. Just the once though. Got the main clock on the display panel, so you can set your time. And then you've got a spanner here, so if it ever fails with an exclamation mark, you've either run out of gas, you're not receiving electric, or it's just glitched, you can reset itself by going to the spanner in the bottom right, clicking reset. It'll come up preset, click again, and it'll reset the control panel, and you'll have to go back through everything that I've just shown you. So temperature, fan speed, water, energy source, and then to turn on and off you would just press and hold like so, and it'll turn off. But this is iNet ready. So on the 60th anniversary of the Nuevo, they have fitted an iNet box which is just above the microwave. So what you can do is you can pop a SIM card in here at the top, and you can text the number when you're out, and that remotely will set the heating and hot water by just saying set heating to 40 degrees, set, or should I say set water to 40 degrees or 60 degrees, set heating to between nothing and 30 degrees, and then when you come back to the vehicle it should already be on and the vehicle should be nice and warm. So that's what the iNet box does. So in the kitchen area above, you've got storage in here and storage in there, and then you've got your sink. So as long as the pump's on, like I've said, you'll get pressurized water, hot and cold, and that water there is lovely and warm. That just indicates that your boiler and your hot water system is working. Draining board which will just hang over the sink the other way there and drain off your items that you've washed. You've got a toilet, the kitchen roll holder, your on and winding handle lives here. Two 240 volt plugs for kettle or toaster. When hooked up these will work. Storage underneath your sink. Pushing the buttons in will release the travel catch. Cutlery drawer. More storage drawers in here. And then in this one you've got storage, and then a safe fitted in the bottom corner from factory. Storage underneath the oven. And then you do have 3 gas burners and 1 electric hot plate. So electric hot plate in the right hand corner. So just, this will only work when you're hooked up, and do make sure that you haven't knocked it before you hook up, because if you don't know anything about it and you're sitting having a cup of tea, the last thing you want is the glass to smash, because it'll give you such a fright. And then you do have 3 gas rings. So there you have 3 gas rings lit, and below you put your grill, and your oven. So that's all your gas appliances working. And then over here you have storage and 4 wine glasses and holders. This switch works the microwave, so it's the isolation switch for the Dometic microwave. So you just turn that on. You've got to be hooked up for the microwave to work, because it's a mains 240 volt supply. It's an 800 watt microwave. There is no plate in it now because it's a new design, so this will heat anything. And you would just set it away by pressing instant start, and that goes up in 10 seconds. Or you can plus here as well. Plate rack and 2 handy bottle racks here, and below you do have your Dometic styled fridge freezer, or should I say Fedford. So to turn on and off you just press and hold to turn it on. A stands for automatic energy selection, so it'll pick the best source that you have available. So at the moment we've got a full tank of gas and we're hooked up, so it's automatically went to hook up. If I was to take the hookup out now, it would go to gas. If I was to start the engine, it would go to the 12 volt setting, which is not off your leisure battery. It's a feed off the engine alternator, and it just is designed so you've previously chilled it, If it's on automatic, great, it'll just turn the fridge into a giant cool box and it'll keep the temperature the same. But it's got to be pre-chilled, so either that can be done at home a couple of days before, shopping in the night before you go away, leave it hooked up overnight to cool down, or if you've been on site and you're ready to move from one site to the other and the fridge has already been on, then you would just leave it on automatic. If you didn't want it on automatic, you can just press the square button here, hook up, battery, it's failed, code 6, not getting a 12 volt feed because the engine's not running, or gas, and it'll self-ignite. 5 bars there, which is just the temperature, so when pre-chilling you probably want it on all 5. When you've got chopping in, you probably want it on 3 or 4 being the max. Please note with the automatic selection that if you left your gas open and you came to fill the vehicle with diesel and this was on, it would find a gas feed, but it's programmed to wait 20 minutes, so you've got 20 minutes to get in and out of the gas filling station safely before it would light on gas. So that's the same as if you just parked up while camping and you wanted to know why your fridge won't light. Just all you've got to do is just manually move it across to gas. This will force it to light on gas as you've manually put it onto there, so you've controlled it yourself. It'll light on gas, and then give that 20 minutes and you can pop it back onto the automatic setting should you wish. And then one last thing with the fridge, once you finish using it for the season, if you do remove everything out the fridge and then give it a wipe down with some Dettol or anti-bac wipes, and then the last thing you want to do is close the door. So underneath the handle there's the little black toggle. Put the black toggle into here and it'll allow the door to stay open during the time the vehicle stood up, not in use. Go on, mate. In the washroom area you've got your toilet, so to operate your toilet, ensuring that the pump is on the main control panel, pressing and holding the blue button at the back below the Thetford logo will give you your 12 volt water flush. So you'd flush first to lubricate the seal, and then before use what you want to do is you want to just open the blade slightly. Once the blade's open, use the toilet, flush after use, and then just back to the left to close the blade. Doing it this way it'll keep the seal from not sticking otherwise, and it'll stop the blade top from getting messy. If you are wanting to use the pink liquid, if you just put it into a spray bottle, dilute it and then just spray the bowl before you flush, it'll just all end up into the cassette, just because that the pink liquid is designed to go in the header tank for the reservoir for the cistern, but because it's a freshwater flush you can't do that on a motorhome, it's more for caravans, but you can do it the other way of putting it down the bowl in a spray bottle. In the back left hand corner this shows green, means the cassette's empty. You can use it. Once it starts going to red and it goes to a solid red, it's time to change the cassette. Got storage cabinets above the toilet, toothbrush holder, towel holder, toilet roll holder, some storage there. Got a skylight with a blackout blind for an evening, so that would just clip onto there and clip back up. Or if you wanted to open it, you can just squeeze whatever side you want to open, so you can open one side or you can open the back or the front, so it's like a double jointed skylight. So you've got it both open there, or you can tip it this way, tip it that way, tip one side down and leave one side up. Just in case the wind's blowing, you can still get a nice bit of ventilation after you've used the shower in the vehicle. You've also got this side, you've got a washing rail, so you can hang your washing up if you've done any washing when away, and that would just slot behind these two pins here, so you can hang your towels up and your various items of clothing. And for your shower, so this unit tilts round and then you can use the turnbuckle on here just to keep that from swinging back. And you've got your shower screen there, so you can use the shower completely separate to the toilet, so the toilet's never going to get wet. But when winterizing, so you've emptied the fresh and the waste outside on this side of the vehicle, driver's side, you would then leave all the mixer taps open in the middle position, remove your shower head from the hose, allow the hose to lie in the tray, just because it's got quite a few loops in there. You don't want any water to freeze and break the pipes. And then you would empty the boiler, which I'll show you further on in the video. And then finally, these lights are touch, so you just touch them on and off, and that's throughout the vehicle. So these are above the lounge as well, so just touch them on to come on and touch to go off. So this vehicle's fitted with a Teleco satellite system, and it's all controlled via this very small little switch here just on the side of the wardrobe. So what you do is press sat when you've parked up, and this will erect the dish. So I'll put the dish up and it'll find the satellite. Should you go further afield and you want a different satellite, so Astra 2, so 2E will work great for this country, France, but then when you start to go down to Spain, Portugal, you will have to change it. So if you just press sat, you can skip through the dishes, and then so Astra 2 you can go further down and it'll start searching. So there's 15 different dishes, or should I say 16, and then you've got,
we're just doing a video for this one for tomorrow.
And then if you keep going, go back to 7, which is Astra 2, but you will have to be very gentle with the switch.
The workshop, the chassis.
So keep scrolling through.
When I was watching them, it's got to go to the satellite and all, isn't it?
And then final press, and then if you press park, park will bring the dish down when you're ready to leave sight. Sat will put the dish up and it'll start to search. So once the dish has come down, I'll show you how to put the dish back up. So say okay, it's down, press sat, and it'll show the dish going up and searching. And then once it's found it, go at your telly, turn your TV on by pointing to the ultrasonic light down in the bottom left hand corner. Now you have your telly working, and then you've got source, so that's on satellite TV. You've got your channels. If you did need to do an auto scan for channels, you could just press TV menu here, go down to the picture of the dish, make sure that it's on Astra 2 2E. So if you've changed the dish, you'll need to then change the satellite on the telly that it's picking up, so it both pairs. But just leave it on that, and then you would do a search and it'll find as many channels as it can. Your little reading lights underneath the cupboards in the lounge are individually switched. You can turn them on and off, and you can move them up and down the rail, so you can get them to where you want them. And then the ones over the cab have 2 settings, so you've got the light off completely, the light around the switch on, or the main bezel light on itself, and that's on both sides. Underneath the bench seat behind the driver's seat, you have the location of your leisure battery, and just next to it you have the most important you have your antifrost drain control for the boiler. So this knows when it gets to 3 degrees it needs to automatically drop the water unless the vehicle is in use when the boiler is warm. Don't rely on it, because if it ever becomes faulty over the years, you don't want to end up with a bill to repair or replace the boiler. So just check on it, or if you want to manually do it beforehand, if you're putting the vehicle away for the winter, or you're simply just bringing it back and not using it for a couple of weeks and it's cold and it could potentially freeze, drain off the boiler. And to do so, you turn this until it's across the vehicle, the button will pop out, the nib will pop out, and it'll start draining all 10 litres of water underneath the vehicle. Leave it open during the time that the vehicle is in storage, and once you come to reuse it, push the button in, so turn it till it goes front to back in line with the vehicle. Push the button in. Once the button stays in, what you then can do is fill the vehicle with water, shut all the taps within the motorhome, put the control panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic cold water. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water. This is when you know that your system is primed, and you would continue to do the other 2 taps and it should be straightforward. The water should come through pretty quick. You've got your fuses here for your EM40 interface, so this is the fuses that cross with the vehicle cab. So you've got your towing, your fridge, your spare fuses, and then you do have your AC700 unit, which is your power supply unit for the motorhome. So you've got all your 12-volt fuses here, so it would be a good idea to carry some spares. You've got your isolation button, so if you wanted to isolate when parking it up so you don't get a power drain, you would just press this system shutdown button. And then on this side you do have your RCD unit, which is this one here, your trip tester, and your MCBs. And then in the front lounge, to make the bed up, you just slide these both out into the middle, and then you'd put the backrests into the space to make the double bed across the vehicle. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver is where you will find your handbrake. And then to black the passenger and driver's doors out, you've got Remus carb lines. So if you pinch and slide these forward, you'll be able to black the passenger and driver's doors out. And then you've got the same on the windscreen, so pinch and slide, and then that will black the windscreen out as well. Coming down here, you've got your electric windows, so driver and passenger side, and then electric mirror adjustment. So there's 2 mirrors to adjust on each side. So you've got the top and the blind spot. And then next to the door on the dash, you've got the gas it. So because it's got a 25 litre underslung gas tank, it'll show green or red, and it'll tell you how much gas is in your gas tank. Headlight adjustment, rear fog lights, and that'll turn off your start stop if you do not want it to operate. Trip computer on the end of the wiper stalk, which will go through your range, your average and instant consumption, your travelling times, your distance travelled, and trip A and trip B. Lights and indicators, and then you've got cruise control, off, speed limiter, and you'd push up to set that. Speed up, slow down, cancel on the end and resume, or you can cancel with the foot brake for the cruise control. Mute, volume, voice command. If you connect your phone, you can use this as your answer.
Connected.
You can answer and decline calls, and then you can scroll through the radio channels or contacts. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift into reverse, which will bring on the rear view camera. Once the engine is started, it will come up here like it has there, and then that beeping's just to tell where that we're hooked up, so do not drive off. These buttons down here, so you've got your heated mirrors. This locks all the doors, including the habitation door, so it's central locking on the habitation door, so you can lock yourselves in on an evening. Hazards. AirSoft stands for anti-slip relief, so traction control, you can turn it off. USB for charging, 12 volt for charging, 2 cup holders and another USB for streaming stuff into the head unit. And then operate your head unit, so you've got radio, FM, AM and DAB. You can press 1 to 3 or you can press all and save up to 12 of your favourite radio channels. Media is obviously Bluetooth audio or USB connectivity because it doesn't take a CD. Navigation's TomTom, so you can set this up. It'll ask for a home postcode. I'm just going to put Tyne Valley's postcode in here now, as I wouldn't advise putting your personal postcode in there, because if your motorhome was stolen, you don't want them to know where you live. So if you wanted to change that, just put it as the town where you live. Don't really put it as the street or anything like that. And then this will be the menu here, so you go to navigate to, you've got home, which you can set up, but like I've said, not your house postcode. Address, you just punch in your address there, postcode. If you did take the vehicle abroad and you wanted to change to coordinates for France, Spain, Portugal, all you need to do is press the United Kingdom flag in the top right hand corner and change the country. And then once you start using the sat nav, you can go to recent destinations if you're going or returning to that location. Phone, you'd press phone, yes. You want to search on your device as well when this is searching, so they find each other. And you want to find my car, and you want to punch in the pin displayed on the bottom there. When it asks, press pair on your phone, pair on the head unit. It'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts, just press allow and it'll download your phone book, so whoever rings will come up. And then you can also scroll through your contacts through here without using your phone. And then finally you've got more, and you can go to the trips and view your trip computer.
That's very good.